Welcome back, Coven.
Welcome.
Hello.
We're back, and this is going to be the penultimate episode of the season.
We have something new for you guys.
So we had a whole idea planned for this recording, and although we're going to be kind of on the same topic, once we started talking about and trying to figure out what we were going to talk about for the episode, we were like, this is way too convoluted. And you'll understand, I think, why it's too convoluted in a moment. So we wanted to talk about art, but we were like, what is art? How do we find it? What is art to us? So we figured we'd talk a little bit about that, and also what our experiences are in art, what our trainings are, what we do that we consider art.
Because at first, when we came up with the categories, we were going to delve into who our favorites are in all these different categories and all this and that. And that's when we started
and then I had an
about...
existential crisis. Like, there's so much art. What do we consider art?
We can't condense this into one episode, and it has to be one episode.
That was my intent the whole time. That's where I was going, was that like all our answers would be like completely unique, because like art to me is probably way different than art to y'all, and like art. But
I just see so many things as art that I'm like, but I can't really like say this is my favorite artist when like I held them into like the same esteem of like someone in this other art over here, and then I'm just like,
I agree.
I was like, with the way we talk, we're going to talk for 5,000 years.
So we were like, let's just make this our category for the time, and then in the future, maybe, if we, are strategic enough, we can come back and delve into more.
So today we're just going to wing it and just say, let's talk about art and just have a conversation.
So I'm just curious, Sam, because you were saying something about how, I don't think art to you guys is what art is to me. So I got to ask, what is art to you?
Well, I mean...
Like
anything could be art.
I guess that's kind
of the concept. Like,
I agree with that
when
too.
we were thinking about favorite artists, like I was thinking more like my favorite performance artists that I've met at festivals, like those types of people. Which you guys aren't going to know who my favorite artist is, because I like to see her do things live at festivals on a hilltop.
So
like,
you're just saying that your people of art that you like are going to be different than our people. I thought they were saying like our understanding of art, or your understanding of art, is going to be different.
When you think of your favorite artist, do you think of hula hoopers? So I mean, like, in general, like, when people think of, hey, art, a lot of people think like classical, like painting and drawing and like
visual
sculpture
art.
Making and tangible art.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But art is so many fucking
intangible
things. Yeah.
Okay, I agree. I see what you're saying. I get that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And honestly, I think my feminist perspective is going to come into play here too. Like, I see certain things as art that like a lot of people might not think of as
like
art.
Women that are going around free bleeding, that's art.
Oh my God! I think I know what that is based on what I've.
I don't know who the artist is, but like this isn't free bleeding per se, but. Well, kind of.
What is free bleeding? I have to ask.
Free bleeding is not,
no tampon,
no feminine products. You just, you have, like, certain clothes and certain bed sheets that you switch to. And, like, you sit on, like, a towel if you need to, but you don't use other things, you know. You don't do the Diva Cup, you don't do the tampons, you don't do the...
Just like, what else?
I got you. Yeah. I mean...
Which is... Like, I do not do this, so I can't speak for people that do, but it doesn't sound like a terrible thing, because, like, it sounds more hygienic, because you're not, I don't know.
I remember when I was looking up, like, the eco-friendly
those
stuff.
things in your body that are trying to purposely come out of your body for a reason.
I mean, true. I do agree with that it should, like, go, naturally, but at the same time, I wonder also if what maybe these women buy, hopefully, for themselves, or because when I was looking into doing stuff for the eco-friendly store, they have reusable. Well, they have reusable pads.
Oh no, they don't use anything. But
but they're made out of fabric. Like they're just made. They're not like like the pads that you like roll up and throw away.
I know.
So do they use?
I don't think they use that. They just shower more frequently.
Yeah.
They have like their period panties and.
Well,
their period towel.
It would be
I like my panties too much to just give them up like that. I would definitely have to have a reusable something to kind of give it at least a shield. Like, I don't know, give them a chance.
Yeah. I mean, I don't judge. They're cool to do what they want to do.
I mean, true, but at the same time, I
wouldn't be able to do that. Underwear. Although this is, I mean, I guess we are still talking about art, but like we're already off on tangents.
I wanted to bring up, there is an artist who did like a live performance type of deal, and so she would put yarn in her putang, and then she would crochet or knit with it.
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was like a performance art thing.
I don't know, man. Like you said, art is definitely interpreted in different ways, and I don't think I would buy a ticket to that art show. Just saying.
Other people would, though, baby.
I had a professor a couple semesters ago. I forget his name. We just called him Jeremy. Like, I don't remember Professor whatever his name is. But he always had us research and, like, look into the weirdest type of art like that. And it was always, like, this off-the-wall performance art, like, I'm going to butcher her name because I'm not even going to try and look it up right now, but it's Abramovich. Does that ring a bell with you?
People, like, stare at each other?
Yeah, she sits at the table. It's very cool. And, like, they just come and sit for, like, 3 minutes or something. But before that, she did different stages of, like, she had a whole bunch of things on a table. And the people that came to see the exhibit, I think they had to pay and like sign a waiver or something for it beforehand, or there was, because that makes sense. But because there were like things on the table, one of them was like a loaded gun, and the thing was that they could use any of those items on her. Like they could write on her with a marker. There was like, I think a rose that they tore into her skin with the thorns, and like they cut her with knives, and like.
I remember hearing about that or something where like people could choose to do whatever they wanted to, and
yeah.
I like that kind of art.
Well, and I feel like it's really sad to see that there are humans that want to do that sort of thing to another person, like, and that to them would be thrilling or artistic or like, like, I don't know.
Well, in a lot of ways, like, art is supposed to evoke some sort of reaction, whether visceral or loving or hateful or like whatever. That's sort of the purpose, in my eyes, of most artistic forms.
True.
And that was kind of the purpose of it, was to see if people were going to show love or hate. And, like, more of the people showed hate, but I don't think anyone pulled the trigger on the gun. I think they held it on her. Maybe, okay, I'm going to look it up now.
That's one thing that
I would hope most of them showed love, but
and that's the thing I guess that I'm getting at, is the fact that it's just sad that humanity would choose to show someone like that who's putting their vulnerability out there. Hate instead of love,
Yeah.
But what is her name?
It's a little distressing to think if that's the case.
Marina Abramovich, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's interesting. I feel like I may have heard a little bit about that, but I never knew who it was or, all the details.
But yeah, she did a lot of, like, performance art it was her husband, I believe, and then they got divorced, but then they still worked together. Like, she does a lot of art that I like.
Yeah, so I have an idea too about what constitutes art. I think a lot of times we take, and this is going to be, like I said, kind of a feminist take, but I think that we devalue the work and creative work specifically of women. So, or that tends to be more feminine or attributed to women. And I'm thinking things like sewing and quilting and gardening and baking and like tasks that are more occupied by women. And it makes me think of
house witch art.
Right. House witch, hell yes, 100%.
But you're right though. Like, I wouldn't necessarily consider that to be art, but if you think about it, it totally is.
It is
because you totally said you're a house witch, and so
yeah.
I mean, well, and
like you said, cooking, you have to concoct different things, and I mean, who's ever had anything from an artist, quote unquote, cook that's not very good versus one that's really good at their art? You know, you can tell the difference.
Think about
it's a craft. It's
and part of the reason I think about things like this way are like classes I've taken and things like that. But I'm going to bring up two people in particular. So first is Virginia Woolf, and she wrote In a Room of One's Own about accessibility of art, because for women, like, I mean, they weren't even able to own a bank account like by themselves until like the 70s. I mean, that's only 50 years ago. That's like within our parents' lifetimes. You know what I mean?
That's
like
crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is crazy to think about. But, you know, you have to think about like the sort of leisureliness of art. You know, like a lot of things that we think about as art require capital that for decades and centuries women did not have access to. If you wanted to paint, you needed to be able to afford things to make canvases. You needed to be able to afford your paints. If you wanted
your brushes.
Paper used to be very expensive. If you wanted art, you needed paper and writing utensils. You know, like there are like pieces of art that women for a very long time had no access to. And so then this brings me to the second person that I was going to bring up. So it makes me think of Alice Walker's In Search of Our Mother's Gardens. And so she's talking about very much like Black women's trauma and how they turned to like arts in the house. Mm-hmm. But I think this, and I don't want to like take away from that, but I do want to add that I think this is quasi-true of a lot of women, just in general terms, really. Although, you know, some white women probably of upper classes probably had more access to the capital for other arts. But particularly for the poor, and unfortunately because of our social systems, Black women have been at the center of that. Mm-hmm. They had to find other ways to express themselves. So they did it through gardening, through their baking, through their quilting, etc.
Well, it's funny because, like, we were talking about, like, what training we have or whatever, and that's one area that I wouldn't have considered, because, like, when we were talking about, like, what art we have in training, and I'm like, you know, I don't really have a lot of art in training, and then with you bringing that up, I'm like, you know what, actually, I do have some sewing skills, and, you know, like, there are certain things that I've done, like, I wouldn't say great gardening skills, but I've dabbled in the garden, and obviously cooking, and, you know, there's different things that you can almost give yourself the credit that you are good at when
my most artistic piece of art came from a biology class. Like, we had to upcycle something, and there I was with all those mannequins in my basement. And
I thought that was for an art class. So, I totally thought that was an art class.
That was for biology. It was environmental science. And
yeah, well, because you had to repurpose something, right? So you had to
yeah.
use something that you had access to pretty much for free.
Yep.
Right? And so you had to salvage it and make something artistic out of it.
I used some pipes in my mannequin, and then I decorated it. And
But that's cool that
I plan on making another one. I don't know. My life is chaos. I need to make one with the intent to sell, which I think that's what's holding me back. Is like I need to make one with the intent to sell, and I've never made my art to sell before, and I need to like get past that thought process about it because it's holding me back.
And then sell it.
Yeah,
girl. They are awesome. We should make one together for downstairs with book pages.
We could.
Ooh, that would
I'd pay you to help me.
That'd be awesome.
Because I would
see
put
it right
it
in the corner, right by your
my little library downstairs.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You could like use it as in your shop pictures.
Oh yeah.
I would love that.
Collab.
Woot woot. Heck yes. Sam by the Nerd Boutique, or the Nerd Boutique by Sam, or
Sam the Witch.
Yes, that would be awesome. I would love one of those. But yeah, so this is like part of the reason that we had this huge conversation about like what is art, because like to me like it constitutes so many things, and you know, from the performance art even to like the more classical works that we think of, like if we go into a museum and see a statue, or if we go to
like actual artists like Monet and Degas.
Exactly. And I think like for me, part of the reason like I consider myself, I mean, I'm more eclectic more than anything, but the primary practice is kitchen witchery for me. Like I love to like throw spices into a soup and see how it turns out, or like bake cookies or make tea sometimes, you know, like, and add little extra things to my tea. Like the other night I made that like the simmer pot that I made. I ended up like straining, because everything in it was edible. So I just like strained the stuff out of it to make like a tea for myself and added honey.
Nice.
So like, you know, like I think like doing shit like that is artistic. It's an art of itself. And like it's really shows too the casual misogyny in art, that like we don't necessarily recognize women for their like art in the kitchen oftentimes, right? But who are all the famous cooks? mostly men.
You know what I was just going to say? What's so funny
it's an
that
art
you say
when they
that?
do it, but not when we do.
But what's funny that you had said that, though, is that what was rolling through my mind when you were talking about, like, cooking in the kitchen and throwing this and that together is I have a friend, Paul, at work that he would just concoct different things and bring it in and be like, hey, I got this thing for you back there, you know, blah, blah, blah. And, oh, man, he would throw, like, ramen noodles, and he would throw a little bit of, like, just chopped up chicken in there. He would throw whatever you want.
Yeah,
like, and he would come up with the best stuff, man. Oh, man, I want to cook like that.
That's how you make real mom ramen. Has real food in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I growing up, all I had was the noodles with the packet.
Ramen
That's
packets.
it. Yeah, like, I never chopped anything up or added any extra anythings to it. And I'm just like,
we were
oh, my world.
As children.
My brain, my mind has been blown. But anyways. So, yeah, I mean, but you're right, though, in the sense that, like, it seems like the men have been very much, like, put on a pedestal for it when women have been doing it for so many years. Like, it's nothing. Yeah.
Or, like, clothing design. Seamstresses were mostly women. But then, I mean, not to say that there aren't any famous women designers. But back in the day, it was mostly men. Like, we're making strides. But, like, who gets the artistic sort of grandeur from those kinds of projects? It's usually men who are made famous or, like, whatever for it. But women have been doing it forever.
Designers I can even think of are, like, Ralph Lauren and Calvin Klein and Marco Polo or whatever.
Right, you're right, though. It's like, yeah, I can't think of too many right off the top of my head that are women.
I mean, there's some, like, later on. Coco Chanel, but those are very modern. Like, if you think of, like, the, like, older, more established brands, like,
Tommy Hilfiger,
Gucci and, like, Versace, like, those are, like, male-fronted brands, mostly.
I used to love watching that show, Project Runway.
I know.
Oh, man.
You kind of got me into it. I haven't watched all the seasons, but I also really liked, what was that Amazon offshoot kind of it that had Mark Gunn and...
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's not his
it was
name.
something with the gun. Under the Gun?
No.
No?
It had Heidi Klum on it, though, too. It was, like, for the next...
Oh, yeah.
They had to, like, try and build a business out of it.
It's not Project Runway. It's... Oh, my gosh.
The Cut?
Yes, The Cut. That's 100% what it is.
Thank you.
I was like, I know that there's other shows like that.
That was
and
really
I just
good.
want to say that I think what was her name? I loved her, and then she was robbed at the end.
Yes, she had the dark clothes. She was from, oh gosh, what was the country she was from? She had a beautiful accent.
Eastern European, I think, or
something.
something.
But she had kind of a darker look to her. And
she liked wearing black and white.
Yeah, she was all about black, I think. She had to have black in her
She,
stuff.
in my eyes, had it stolen from her.
Me too, I agree. She was so great. She should have won. But
yeah. So, I mean, but that's like something you can probably relate to, Susie, because you do a lot of sewing. I've actually learned much of what I do is sewing from Susie, actually.
Growing up, I wanted to be like a designer. For some reason, I just totally saw myself on Project Runway doing it all, doing the thing.
I thought that too for a while. And then I went to like interior design.
Another art form, FYI, IMHO.
Feng shui some shit.
Yeah. Well, you know what's so funny? I kind of have a funny story with that. Sorry. But I was in high school. I was in that hero whatever thing, and we went to a project where we went to a college to present a project. And I was partners with a girl named Courtney, and we came up with a living room we were having to redesign. And so we had to come up with like a color scheme and like furniture, window treatments, whatever. Well, at this point in my life, I had literally had no interior design experience. So I was getting into the nitty gritty details. Like we literally used our budget. I thought that the whole point was to use the budget to get as much stuff as you could, to give the person what they wanted, blah, blah, blah. The person wanted something in red, and they liked red, they liked certain other things, whatever. Yeah. So I took that so literally that I went and bought a whole entire desk full of like red accessories, like a red stapler and a red tape dispenser and
Did you actually buy these items?
No, we just tried to make it as a project. Well, this is the part that kind of made me mad though, was because, before you give your students a big opportunity like to present at a college level in front of a whole bunch of other like high school students, you present the project to your teacher first. Well, my teacher okayed the project that we presented and said, yeah, good job, go ahead, present that. You guys will be fine, you guys will be good. And upon presenting it at the place in front of everyone else, I realized just how too detailed it was. I mean, literally, all they wanted to do was a couple throw pillows and, like, some window treatments and, like, a couch and, like, a bookshelf, you know, like, maybe a couple knickknacks on the bookshelf to make it look more sophisticated or something, but, like, I took it way in another field.
You bought them new staplers and tape dispensers?
Yeah, I'm like, here you go, here's a red desk since you like
Knickknacks
red.
and wax.
Literally, and my teacher didn't stop us. My teacher had no, like, oh yeah, by the way, that's a bad idea.
It's because it was amazing, that's why.
And it was a different concept of the idea. Like, there's nothing wrong with that your idea was a different...
I felt scarred after I left that building. I was like, good God, I don't understand interior design at all, apparently.
I think it is like, well, no, I think you just got way more into detail than these other students, and they were just like, fuck it, this is a project, I'm just gonna do it. And you're like, I am gonna do it.
We scored low, though, compared to the other people that presented, and I got to see a couple of the other presentations, and because they were talking about just interior design as like a, you know, just a general thing. They weren't talking about, like, buying them all the, you know, things that they needed in their desk.
Oh, no, if you're a new to interior design, have you ever watched, like, the Property Brothers?
Yeah, they get into the kind of detail that you did, don't they?
They buy them the new espresso maker. They, like, buy new cups to put on the counter.
I mean, maybe, well, you know what's funny? I've heard that they stage that and that you have to either...
Then they take it all back.
Yeah, they take it all back, otherwise you have to pay for it, like the Chip and Joanna Gaines.
But you know why they pay for it? Because that interior design shit looks good on camera.
They're like, take my money, I want to stay just like this. Don't take anything out of here.
But anyways. It sounds like they had their bar set real low, and then we're like, we can't give these a good score. Well, because it'll make everybody else in the room feel bad.
It made me feel like that, yeah. Anyways, so
I don't know.
I'm so sorry, you guys. I got us way off topic talking about my interior design project. I mean, it is
well, it's your experience, right? We're talking about our experiences.
My
topic.
My over-the-top idea of what interior design
I had to do a project like that in high school, I remember.
Did you have to do, like, a graphic of it, like, recently?
Well, yeah, recently I had to redesign a room in my house and use a 3D program to replicate it and, like, build all the furniture in the room. So I did my homeschool room and redid it. And
it's basically like what they do on Property Brothers.
Yeah, it was the 3D rendering of it. So, like...
I'm sorry, but I did interrupt. You were about to tell a story about from your school days. I'm sorry.
Oh no! Just I had to do the same, like, project that she did. Okay, like, we had to, like, interview somebody and ask them about how they wanted to redo their bathroom, and, like, I was always a loner though, so it was like a group project that, like, everyone else had groups, but I did mine by myself because no one talked to me because I didn't talk to anyone.
The best things come out.
But I got an A on that project, and, like, I I invested like she did. Like, I designed them a nice new bathroom. Like, I asked her what kind of bathtub she wanted. She wanted, like, a big soaker tub, so I bought her an infinity tub with, like, nice, like, waterfall thing, and, like,
she's like, I'm gonna hook this up.
Did some nice tile in the bathroom. My mom was still working at the time, and they build salon furniture there, so I had actual, like, tile sample slabs, and I was like, these are your choices for your countertops, and these are your choices for your floor. And I had, like, the actual tiles,
like the designers do on the shows. Like, oh shit, that's awesome. They're like, dude, this girl gets it.
Susie, it sounds like you were robbed.
I mean, yeah, you know, maybe that's what it was. And I'm thinking this whole time, like, oh God, I'm too much.
Who paid the judges?
I'm so extra. But no, I think there was probably a balance that I should have had there. But I also think that, you know, like you're saying, it's worth the detail and the effort. So.
The attention to detail for us, like, I mean,
that's where the artistry comes into play.
I mean, we come from a long line of, like, crafters and sewers and, you know, like, home-based, like, sort of crafting stuff. Like, crafting, too. They call them crafts. It's art. Come on.
Yeah.
It might go back to playing The Sims and having all the clutter that you buy for the fucking house.
You know?
I'm remodeling this house, so I'm buying the desk. I have to get that stapler to put on the corner of the desk, and I have to get the thing to put on this corner of the desk.
Oh my gosh, she finally put it together for me.
So once again, I reiterate, for you guys, like, most people, they get their unrealistic house expectations from, like, HGTV, and you guys are like, no.
I get my over-the-top, fill everything. From The Sims.
Yeah, you need a piece of clutter to put there? We got some clutter for you.
Downloaded.
Boom.
But yeah, I mean, we come from a long line. I mean, like, our parents, like, our moms, owned like a small crafting business for years and years and years, and even like outside of what they sold on there, they were always doing all kinds of crafts. Like, our grandma was like that. She was a sewer, and I mean, like arts and crafts, and like, you know, being creative in like sort of domestic spaces has always been like pretty prevalent among at least on our mom's sides of the family.
Oh, for
sure. Well, and now I'm a homeschool mom, so now we do all the homeschool crafts, and there's a lot of handiwork involved in that. And so...
Because don't you like what are the little people that you get? Because you guys paint your own and everything,
the peg dolls, Like, I made him the alphabet peg doll set, so he has, like, the ABCs, and then there's capital, lowercase, and then cursive letters that I made for him, and... Then we make different characters from different storybooks. If we're spending some time in a different book for a while, we'll make the peg characters for them. And
I want to do the leaf thing. Awesome. When you were talking about like
the wax sleeves. That was really cool.
Wax sleeves. Right now we're learning how to do wet felting, which I've never done before. But we're making a little play mat for our peg people. That's like a little. You use different colors of felt, like not felt, but like wool roving. And you layer that and, like, press it with soap and, like, it's a whole thing. But it's fun, and Dylan likes it, and he just sits there and...
Does it, like, change colors and stuff? Or, like, what does it do?
Well, so you layer the different things of wool, and then you press it down, and then it turns into felt. Like, after you rub it and, like... soap it around and get it wet and rinse it out again and push it more and like it takes a while.
It's the whole thing.
It's a lot of like rubbing and rolling and pushing it.
Yeah, you know, what if it takes time and it keeps them occupied?
Yeah, but it makes a little like felt mat, and then you get to choose kind of the colors. If you want to like put little flowers here, you can put a little tiny thing of pink, and then if you want like mountains or water, you can put like blue and then it's kind of three-dimensional too, because you can like make mountains if you like put like a pile here, and then
cool.
We're making our first one now, and then we're planning to make a couple more.
Well, what's neat about that is that then he can create his own environments and all the different places that he wants to put the people. And, like
you're passing on those creative genes.
Yeah, like that's
We need to start making like, the different biomes, because that's what we're learning in science. So I'm going to try and like wrap the things together, and our next one will probably be. I don't know, whatever biome we're learning about right now.
Nice. So, you know, Sam, you've talked a little bit before, too, about what you're going to school for is basically...
Yeah, I'm in school for art. Don't forget to mention that. But I'm going to school for graphic design, which that's where I've got most of my training, I guess, like professionally, and I've made like graphics for my bands before, like Joint Operation. I've made stickers for them, and
those turned out really nice. I remember when you guys did those. Like, speaking of,
well, then like
I need to throw some more stuff together, and I need to make our stickers for our podcast and do some other stuff like with that.
Awesome. Yeah, because it kind of reminds me of like my experience too. Like, I mean, especially on the graphic design part, you are, oh my gosh, I'm a little bit jealous of the skill that I'm sure that your education brought you. Because I've like self-taught myself some things. Like I've made all the logos for like the Nerd Boutique, and like I helped substantially with the one for our Midwest Coven Cast, and you guys came over and kind of gave pointers or whatever. But so like, I mean, I know some basic graphic design stuff, but like I definitely love to learn how to do it like in the explicit detail you do, because you show us like your projects, and I'm like, that is so awesome.
Yeah, I love, because I'm kind of self-taught too, and I think my teacher kind of can tell that, because my skill level hopefully is like when we were, it's like I said, it's different now that we're not in the classroom setting, because I don't see anybody else's work.
Right.
And granted, I am probably a lot older than most college students also. Yeah, but when we were in the classroom setting, like, I could tell that I invested in a lot of time out of class to teach myself skills beyond what we just learned in class. And there were other people that you could tell just what we did in class was what they knew, if they knew that. Yeah. But not to say anything against them, but like, there's just those types of students that they do what they have to do to get by, and others are like self-starters. I wish I could be like that sometimes, because man, it's stressful. Like I can't. I don't cut myself breaks. I don't know how to do that.
I don't do that.
I can understand how that can be. And like, yeah.
If I'm doing a project, like he'll give me the project and then I'll go and be like, oh, well, how can I like one up that and like do all these other extra shit.
I want to be above and beyond.
Yeah. Well, because like, and then I've self-taught myself, like video editing software and stuff too. I'm trying to learn motion so you can do like quasi animated stuff, like not like
like what I kind of learned. I got an A on that last assignment.
The thing on the
it's like I made the most ridiculous thing for my last assignment, and I got an A. But like, I did the assignment. I did all the steps that you had to do the assignment, but the videos that I chose were just absolutely ridiculous, and so it's fine.
Right.
I did it.
Hey, at least you finished it. It's better than you know. Because there was a point in time it was kind of like, oh god, there were so many to turn in all at once. Oh.
I get that way every semester.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing. It's just at the end of every semester, I'm like, oh my god, I still have all these assignments and the due date's in 2 days for everything because that's the last day of the semester and fuck.
Yeah.
In all fairness, it's probably a lot of people too.
All college students everywhere.
That'd be me if I was still in school here. I'm just like, I'm just not going to go.
Susie, you went to, you were in the arts academy, so you did
that was really fun,
you were a kid
actually.
at the time, but like some training, I imagine.
Well, yeah, I remember when I went in there, they had us make a portfolio of like our main things, and we had to like try out in dance, and then we had to like try out in, I think it was drama. Because, yeah, those were the things that they had as different in the Fine Arts Academy versus the normal, like, everyday class.
That's cool.
We had a drama class, and then we all had art class, but I think that they just kind of delved in a little deeper in ours. Like, for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, too, I remember, like, in 4th grade, Mrs. Beaumont taught us really a lot about classical music artists. Like, I got into Mozart, I got into Beethoven, or not Mozart. Yeah, it was Mozart, Beethoven, anyways.
I remember you always listening to, like, classic music, especially when you were, like, doing your homework.
Yes. That's what she taught us. She said that, hey, when you guys are doing your homework, it's a good thing to just put it in the back. Yeah, like, and it's weird how, like, now that I'm so much older and I got Kelly, I'm like, yeah, let's just put on some classical music. Yeah, like, it kind of calms her, and she likes some of the, I think it was a Mozart song that just goes da 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 da. Like, she gets so like hyped up for it. I'm like, yeah, she loves
that girl
it.
Loves to dance. She's gonna be a dancer, I think, and she loves music. I think in general.
I was just gonna say, and that
Dylan wants to be in a rock band.
Oh, he'll
Dylan's
be great.
Gonna be a rock star. He likes to scream and yell and
he's gonna sing like that.
Yeah, he does that. He has a drum set, so we need to get a bigger apartment because the drum set's in the basement. Like it was my brother's drum set when he was in band and as a kid, and now it's Dylan's, but like he's played it like 3 or 4 times. So we need to get out of where we are. We need a bigger apartment, bigger space.
Speaking of music and your brother, he recently started a new thing where he's going to be releasing.
Yeah, he has a DJ page now.
What?
Yeah.
He's going to make weekly
Spotify
playlists.
Ooh.
At least 10 to 20 songs, I think.
And he's
for
really
good
years
for DJ, so
has been a DJ by quasi trade.
Yeah.
Meaning that he does like weddings on the weekends. Of course, obviously right now he hasn't been able to do that. So he was trying
to find a different variety of
stated
music.
On his like new Facebook page, like he used to like play taxi a lot for his friends and people and be the like DJ while playing taxi for people and driving people around. So
he's good at this.
We can't do that anymore. So now he has it on Facebook, and now he can share all of his new listenings. And
I would always just hand my phone to him if I was driving. I'd be like, here,
play whatever you want.
He's always got something good to.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and like I said, that's how I found Todrick Hall.
Yeah. I've a lot of the music I have. I found between Steve or Sarah. Or a lot of the, other than the ones that I find for myself, but like they have probably been the two that have like shaped my music taste probably the most are your brother and Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than, just like I say, growing up in the 90s.
He's always got some fun, awesome songs.
Right.
Or artists in general, just the show.
100%. Yeah.
But no, one other thing that I was going to say back with the school category with the fine arts and stuff was the drama. I've always, for some reason, and I didn't necessarily, I guess, categorize it as art in my head, but I am always drawn to TV shows and
digital art. I mean, that's part of what I study.
Right. Like, I don't know. I'm into that. Like, and like you're saying, like the film and the literature, like I can appreciate how like directors can have certain takes on things and like different oh nope, you gotta be at this angle, you gotta say it this way, you gotta be in this hair and makeup, you gotta like, I don't know, just to get their vision across and to actually like, I don't know, to me that's art too, and I fall for that kind of art all the time.
Like slam poetry is another art form that I love.
I've heard of that, but what is that?
I'm pretty sure Trevor hates
poetry.
Slam poetry. It's just like spoken poetry, but it's usually somewhat like rhythmic, like
not rapping.
Not really rapping. It's more spoke. I mean, you can do it that way, but if you're speed doing it,
there's different ways to do it. But YouTube playlist of some of our favorite slam poetry.
Slam poetry playlist. We can do that.
I mean, if you have some, you can. Otherwise, Sam and I can just
go for it.
And then you
love
can watch
slam
it.
Poetry.
I think you'd like a lot of it.
Okay.
I think you would too.
I'll check it out.
And I'm interested to see what you
I love poetry.
would put
I wonder
on
if we
it
have some crossover.
I listen to button poetry a lot, so that's where I find
love button poetry. Yeah.
Okay, so
I have no idea what either of these things
Probably.
are.
Like Rachel
What's
Wiley
button poetry?
And like,
there's Sarah something one that I have one of her books for.
Isn't it like her and her husband like do some stuff together too? And he's like, just what's his name? I'm terrible with names.
Yeah, I'm terrible with names too. That's why we'll make a playlist and we'll.
Yes, it'll probably be like all button poetry all the time.
So question: what is button poetry? I've never heard.
It's a YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a slam art or video slam art.
They are a video slam art, but I think they also have like studios where they do like stand-up nights.
Probably in like a city like New York or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what city. I'm just guessing,
I'm not sure, but it's basically slam poetry. Different poets go on there and they record them and put them on the videos and
yeah. They also have a publishing house, so they do some publisher side stuff too of like chapbooks of their poets too.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Like I have a couple books from poets on button poetry.
Yeah.
So
100%. But
I hadn't heard of that. I love poetry.
We're going to make a playlist. It'll be great.
I like poetry.
And especially if you like listening to things over reading necessarily. And plus then you could like, you hear it in the tone it was meant to be heard in instead of reading it. Sometimes it gets misconstrued, you know?
Right. No, I agree. Sometimes you wonder what the artist truly meant by what they say.
And there's usually a lot of oomph in there, like,
There's some emotions that it evokes.
Yeah. I have like, as somebody who studies literature, like I have such a weird relationship with poetry because there's some of it that I really like and some of it that I'm just like, why? What?
And honestly, I think that's what art is too. Like I think that art, like I remember I was watching a YouTube video recently. I think it was by Seth Godin. And he basically was talking about how, you know, when you create something, you need to make sure that you just stand behind it 100%. And it's going to be for some people and it is not going to be for other people. And that's when you know you succeeded in making something genuine. Yeah. Because if it is for everybody, you're trying to help, you're trying to please too many people. And that's not the point of art. Like,
that's I think where I'm like, when I'm trying to make my next mannequin, I'm like, who am I making it for? You know, like trying to find my audience, but like instead of just making it and letting my audience come to me and be like, hey.
Right. Right. It's hard to start. It's like the goose or the egg. It's hard to start with one, you know. Yeah, sometimes depending on where you look at it, so.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, good art is not going to be good to everybody. And like honestly, like you said, I think it's sort of an indication, like, once you get haters, you know you're onto something.
Yeah.
because I mean, art in its essence, I think, is supposed to be something that someone makes with the intention or not to evoke some sort of reaction, whether it's positive, negative, 100%. Calming, furious, anger, what, you know, like whatever. Yeah. Right. So
disgust.
Yeah, or you know, love or passion or
well, I think anybody puts out something. I heard a term, remarkable. As long as someone makes a remark about it, it's remarkable. And I think that's what artists are seeking, is someone to make some sort of a remark. Maybe not out loud, but even to themselves. Like, is that remarkable?
I love that saying. What did you just say?
Remarkable?
If someone makes a remark about it, it's remarkable.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's beautiful or
wonderful. Did someone,
wonderful.
Like, actually say that? I'm like, that saying I just like it.
I don't know who said it. I did hear
it.
I feel like I've heard it
that
said.
Sentence is an art in and of itself.
Well, I feel like someone even said it more artistically than that when I heard it. So it'd be interesting to look up and find out, because I don't at this point know for sure, but I think it's been said in a more beautiful, termed way than what I just put it.
I love it.
Well, we'll find it and we'll post it on our social media.
I
will make that a point to do that social media post, you guys.
You say this a lot.
Yeah.
But this one I'm actually this
like, but this time I mean it.
This one I'm gonna stick to this time. Damn it.
I love it.
Because I love that too, and it's been something that stuck with me, but obviously it didn't stick with me in the 100% like wording that it was worded in. So now I gotta look it up.
Someone tells you your coffee from the morning is good, it's remarkable. Your soup tastes delicious, it's fucking remarkable.
That's right. When someone even just says, hey, you look nice today, you're remarkable.
You are remarkable.
That's right. Even if they say you look like shit, you're still remarkable.
You're still remarkable.
They remarked.
100%.
Oh.
Fell down.
It's okay. It's okay.
We'll get it.
Stay down. Just stay down.
Just stay there.
To pull us back onto like different types of art that we interpret.
Yes.
So I like painting.
Yes.
But probably not in the way people are like, oh, I like paintings. Like, I like watching paintings being painted.
Do you watch Bob
Ross? Like time-lapse videos and shit?
Yes. But, like, so at music festivals, like, even just at some of the concerts, there's people that, like, artists that travel with some of the bands that I watch, and, like, they paint on stage to the music being played, and then they sell those, like, pieces after the show.
That's cool.
That is
they're amazing. And
it reminds me sort of on AJT, the America's Got Talent, how they'll have like the sand artists go up there, or the shadow art, like when they do the dance shadow art, and they'll do like, it's like they're making music / something else with it. To make it
they're
more...
interpreting their vision of what the music is. I mean, and sometimes he does not. Sometimes they're just like painting like whatever painting.
That would be so cool to see, though. I've not personally witnessed it as a live performance. I feel like I might have seen like a YouTube video of somebody doing that before, but it was cool, like, to watch.
I'm that weirdo that will stand right behind the like painter and like just watch the painter the whole night.
You know what though?
You probably
That's
did watch
the
Bob Ross
part.
then, right?
Yeah,
I
love
something
Bob
about
Ross.
Yeah.
Well, it was just funny because I remember I'd never even heard of Bob Ross, and then I forget when I heard about him exactly, but I guess Ryan.
He made a comeback.
Yeah, actually. But I guess Ryan growing up used to be all into the Bob Ross thing. And so I was like, what the hell is up with this? So I checked it out. And he's got the calmest, most just serene voice to listen to. It's just so calm. And he says the funniest stuff. He'll just like throw a remark out there that's just, I say remark now. He'll throw a comment out there that's just kind of off the wall. Like, oh, we're just going to put a little tree there, That tree has a
happy little tree.
Yeah,
happy little tree.
Yeah, happy little tree. Like, it's great. It is just so great. I've seen him on, like, shirts, T-shirts, no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Right.
So anyways, I would check him out if you've never checked him out. It's definitely worth watching at least one of them. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Man. But otherwise, if you're looking to fall asleep some night and you don't want nothing to, like, distract you really, throw on some Bob Ross and you will fall asleep to a soothing Bob Ross. But anyways...
No, I love it.
But I actually did, what I was getting to, I'm so sorry, was the fact that I actually did a Bob Ross painting. Like, I bought his, like, kit. I listened to him for so long that I finally consumed his kit online. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to, make this thing. And it's actually not too bad. I could post a picture of the one that I did.
Was it like a work-along, though? Like, you watched a video and did what he did? Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically like, then do your mountain, and then do your tree, and then do your river, and, So, anyways, it actually was really fun, though. That's what I was basically getting at. I'm not very, like, skilled at it, and it will take time if I wanted to actually pursue it, but, like, it's fun to just, do those types of things. But, like, cool. Art along, what did you call it? A watch-along?
But it's kind of a watch-along sort of art.
When you basically, a work-along? Is that what you called it?
Yeah.
I don't know. But when you basically do what they're saying on
like
the...
a work aside, work along, follow along.
Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. Did I use a fancy name for it? I don't remember.
Well, I think you did call it something specific a few minutes ago, and I was like, that. And then I'm like, oh, shit, I don't even know what that was.
I don't remember.
I've got a terrible memory, so, But you all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And I think he used to, like, sell those paintings, too, for, like, usually for charity or like the station or something like that.
Yeah, he made no money off of any
because it was like
of those
a
paintings.
publicly funded.
Yep, PBS.
Yeah, so.
Well, and I remember they actually said on the thing, I don't know where I learned this from, but I guess they actually would make they made like 3 paintings per episode. They would make one for all the up close, they'd make one while he was actually being filmed making it, and then they had, I think, even another one that's even more perfected for at the end or something. But they had like multiple of the same painting made for the same, but anyways.
That's very cool.
Yeah. I think my common trend is, like, I like visual art that's, like, moving. Like, I don't like things that should be stationary. They have to be still, like, in progress, or, like, that's my common trend that I'm feeling that I, with all of the stuff that I've been bringing up, like flow art and...
I think, like, the statues that move and stuff like that, it's like, what are there's, like, a name for it, I feel like, but I cannot remember.
Like, the people that are pretending to be statues? Or...
No.
Oh.
Although I do think that's cool, too, like, the street performers and whatever that do stuff like that. But it's like
not like at the
they're
wax
like actual
museums.
Sculptures, and they're like have they'll
like
just,
the metal
like, flow.
ones. Yeah, I think that in the wind, is that what you're
sometimes
talking about?
it's in the wind, but like they're just like sometimes they use like perpetual motion and like like architectural stuff to like do. It's like
I just bought some of those like Smithsonian ones where it just has a perpetual motion machine,
Goldberg,
and then like Newton's cradle.
That doesn't sound familiar, but maybe that's a more technical term for it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find like pictures and put them online somewhere.
I believe that what you're talking about, there used to be one up in the mall, up in Syracuse when I lived up there. When I lived, maybe it wasn't in Syracuse, maybe it was in like outside of Fort Drum, whatever that little town was. Watertown was where it was, I believe. But there was like, it kind of like, it could be like a marble run machine that has like different gizmos that go up and down, like contraptions, kind of.
Like it depends
but I mean, they
on how
don't always
design
have balls,
it,
but like, that would be an example of one, or no?
I think that would arguably be one, yes.
Okay. But it's like something that has motion to it and it doesn't stand still. But it's a sculpture.
Right. Well, I mean, there might be certain pieces of it that stay still, but like there's some sort of motion in it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Does it have to be caused by like water or like? Because didn't you say the one that in Watertown had water?
No.
Oh, maybe never mind.
No, it was usually weights and pulleys and like different things like that. Like more mechanical.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Oh, kinetic art. That's what it's called. Kinetic art.
Yes.
Ah, okay, yeah.
I'm showing you guys some pictures.
I was actually thinking that when I was like art that moves, I was thinking of like metal sculptures like that. Like that.
Cool.
But I think you can make it out of like different materials. I think metal's probably the most common, but yeah,
I'm sure. I've seen like the big sculptures that are made. I mean, these ones I guess don't move, but the big like sculptures that are made out of like stuff they find in the ocean or like stuff that's like recycled, like repurposed art. I guess I like because that's what I create.
Oh yeah, upcycled things. Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
But making like art out of trash is, I'm always a fan for that.
I'm always a fan of repurposing things if you can,
I remember I saw a lady that had stacked a bunch of wine bottles like on poles and like put it all across her front like porch or something. And every morning when when the sun shone through it, it just was all these different cool greens and blues and browns, and it looked really pretty.
Very cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so even stuff like that could be art.
There's like so much that can be considered art. Like, I mean,
honestly, the one that I wanted to bring up was tattoos. Yeah. I freaking love. I don't have any, but I freaking love looking at other people's tattoos. Like, I don't know what it is, but
and that's like a skill all in its own because that's drawing and like thinking of creative things. Because like people walk in, they're like, "This is what I want," and you have to like create that for them.
Yeah.
For one, and then be good at drawing on something that's moving around a little bit because like,
and the skin itself is not like paper. I mean, that has a whole other skill. I mean, yeah, and I'm sure that and I've heard people when they come in to get tattoos, they actually have usually emotional things that they have that they're getting them for, or just significant things.
Working with people in general is an art.
Yeah, like it's almost like therapy for some of the artists at times, I'm sure, just because people are coming with such loads to like, hey, I need to get this for like my dead mom, or like, something heavy like that. And I'm sure that getting it during the pain of it can get emotional. Like, so anyways, I agree that I think that working with the public, like you said, or just working with people in general is also an art. But
so fact, at least two of my tattoos I got like 2 days after being released from hospitals for mental purpose.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, like when I'm going through shit, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get a tattoo. Like, so
I think that's what a lot of people
they
do.
say your tattoos are like your life story, and they kind of are, because like fiance number one over here, and then you know.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about tattoos is I feel like we feel this need to express ourselves, and I feel like when we get a tattoo or make that decision to get a tattoo, it's something that represents us so deeply as an identity. And I know it's hard because, like, as a person, you aren't I mean, I shouldn't say you shouldn't have an ego, but, you know, the point is not to have an ego. The point is to let your ego go. But there's some sort of, like, a significance to identifying with your ego and putting it on your skin that...
I wouldn't say it's an ego thing necessarily. It's, but, like, it's like...
Just, like, giving
showing
yourself...
your identity. Like, creating your own identity for
ego
yourself.
In a negative way, I guess. I was just more or less saying it as I am this person, I've had these experiences, and this is me.
Yeah.
That sort of an ego. Not like I'm egotistical, but just, you know, a self-identity for yourself. But, like... Yeah, I agree that I think that when people are, when they do go through those heavy things and they get those things, that it just gives that much more significance to that art.
Well, I think that's a lot of art. A lot of art comes from emotions. Like a lot of songwriters I know, they get their inspiration from heartbreaks or, you know, or even happy songs. You know, you can't think of a happy song when you're in a depressed mood. You gotta like evoke those emotions some way. And
I think a lot of art is meant for a purpose in terms of the way or what the artist was trying to express. I mean, there might be some who disagree with me on that, and maybe it's not all art or all art. Maybe some artists would completely disagree. But I think a lot of them would say that they were trying to express something through the art, whether it's an emotion about, you know, themselves or their lives, or trying to tell the story of something that happened to them or someone they know, or maybe they're trying to be political. I mean, there's a lot of political music. I mean, So, I mean,
political art, like the cartoons.
It's another way to say what you want to say without saying it. You know,
I love
another
those
way
pictures,
to be heard.
actually, like those big political pictures that they used to make, and you would see like they would basically have a huge concept set in one picture.
Like Guernica.
I don't know what that is, but I'm more or less like talking about. It's almost like
Guernica. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I should remember back in the day they used to always publish them in the newspapers. They would have
that's
like these...
That's not a Picasso.
It is Picasso.
Pablo Picasso.
Yes.
Okay. I thought I remembered.
It's
So you'd have like these big political like stances.
Are you talking about like Uncle Sam, like I Want You type posters, or
sort of? But it was more or less like, you know, they would make them against each other, like almost, or like just to represent a bigger idea. Like, God, I can't even think of what a good example would be, but like...
This is Guernica.
No, not quite that. It's not like... I
thought that might be a little more formal
confusing.
Than what she's...
Like, that to me is slightly more confusing and interpretable.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is more along the lines of, like, say we're going through some big political something. Well, they'll put it into, like, say it's the Republicans and the Democrats. They'll put a big elephant and they'll put a big donkey and they'll make some big political
you're talking about, like, slander
like political cartoons, basically?
Yes, political cartoons, exactly. That's what I was basically saying. Yeah. Like, it was something that, to me, I found a good form of art in a sense that, like, you can basically just make, an entire concept of everybody knows what the hell they're talking about and what's going on in that picture in just one...
A lot of that, like, especially, like, popular art or, like, things that are dispersed to people rely on, like, cultural symbolism.
What is that? Yeah, symbolism. Yeah. That's what I was talking about. I was like, there's a whole genre of art that's, like, not just political, but symbolism is what I was looking for.
I think that's a whole thing, that is interesting to look into, too, because, I mean...
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of art is meant to, like, tell us truths about ourselves that maybe we don't want to see or are afraid to say out loud. So I think that's a huge drawing point of art more generally.
Right.
And particularly those who make it or consume it.
It does seem like when you're ever going through something, like, deeper emotional or something, that art is... Some form of art is what people turn to, you know.
You dye your hair red. What?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you go get a tattoo.
100% art.
You know?
Piercings, like the way that you dress, like your personal appearance can be its own form of art. I love following people, like, on social media and, like, TikToks who have, like, really super cool aesthetics.
Yeah.
Like, there's this girl who, like, basically does her makeup like she's a doll every day, and then they're, like, you know, like drag queens who like do, you know, make themselves just look like fucking
I have a lot of awesome queens on my TikTok.
Yes.
I wish I could do my makeup like that.
You need to watch some of these YouTube makeup gurus and shit. Oh man.
I mean, I say that, but I really don't. I mean, like, if I ever needed to, it'd be great to be able to just go like,
I realize that I'm not really the makeup person. That's so that like, yeah.
I'm not either.
I need to stop buying products for the person I think I should be and just buying products that for like who I am in the moment now, because like I have so much stuff that's like, oh yeah, I want to be the person that like uses that, but I don't. I don't use those products.
You know what's funny that you say that, and this is going to be slightly off topic, so I apologize, but like, so the declutter thing that you're talking about,
yeah.
So I made a list when I was decluttering a long time ago, and I was like, okay, so I'm noticing that I have an abundance of these types of things. Why would I want these types of things? I used to have a whole bunch of organization things, like folders and binders and file things, whatever. Obviously, I want to be a more organized person.
You want to control things.
And then, yeah. And then, like, I had an abundance of, like, health and beauty care stuff. I want to be pretty. And I want to smell good.
Yeah.
Like, I started drawing
all that
conclusions
Bath and Body Works
about myself based on my consumption habits. Like, obviously, this is what I'm seeking when I'm buying these things. So maybe I need to figure out just a way to become that thing. So, I mean, I want to buy all this external things to feel that way. Like, but anyways, sorry. Off topic, but
I feel like there's probably lots of people that could be like, yeah, I resonate with that.
Yeah, but you know what? Maybe that's an art in itself too, though, is working on yourself and fixing your stuff, because
yeah, shadow art. Didn't we already?
Yeah, we were just talking about shadow work when I didn't understand what it was. So, but I agree, though. I think that that's the best art you can do, is working on yourself.
It's probably some of the most or best time spent, probably, for most people.
For me recently, yeah. I mean,
focus internally.
I still have a long way to go.
Not to say you shouldn't focus externally.
I think I need to dive. So into that, I'm starting my therapy at the PTSD clinic through the Yay. I start on the 13th, which is basically a lot of shadow work, because apparently there's this ginormous packet that I'm supposed to get that we're supposed to work through together, and.
Hey, you know what? If it's that big,
I'm actually really excited about it, because like my trauma happened 6 years ago, and there's still a lot of things that like just come up that like they aren't going away on their own. So I think it's time to
confront
resolve
them, make them go away.
Yeah, that's great.
Honestly, I just recently had a friend that was posting something about how she was going through some stuff like that. And I think it's really important for people to be vulnerable enough to admit those things for each other's sake. Because the more that you're able to not deny it and hush it away and push it down and try to ignore it and act like it's not there, it's almost making it seem like that's the way to be for other people. Whereas in the opposite sense, if you almost like bring your vulnerabilities to the surface and let other people know, hey, you know what, this is me, I'm not perfect, and I'm doing this to help myself. It might allow other people to feel that okay same way about themselves and say, hey, you know what, I think I'm like that too, and I think it's okay for me to be like that too. You know, so I don't know, I think everybody just needs to be a little bit more supportive of each other and understanding of each other, and it's, you know, I think that's a great thing that you're able to do that, because
well, I'm ready to dive into it and just do it. And like I said, I kind of want to write a book anyways, so I kind of need to, this might help me sort things out a little more, to make things more clear about how I want to do that.
Yeah.
And
what kind of stuff you want to put in it. Maybe some of the stuff that you guys talk about in that packet will be sustenance.
That ginormous packet.
Well, I think that's another art form that we all kind of share. You want to write a book, Susie, you have some ideas for some kids' books.
Children's books.
I have
so many
several books started.
I think we can all think of a famous artist that, semi-famous artist that we love her children's books.
I want to say, I think maybe that's part of our intrigue for Andrea Stein so much, because, I mean,
she's such an inspiration, especially just in the whole, like, witchy mom realm altogether.
And the author podcast realm as well. Like, she just has a lot of things you can look up to.
I mean, even I love her stuff, and I'm in my 30s. But again, I guess I can't really say that, because we've established how I'm a 5-year-old.
Yeah, you're not very mature. I'm just kidding. But I think it's important to kind of talk about that. Like, what's so funny is I remember there was a podcast that Sam had mentioned to me when we first started doing this, because I didn't listen to a lot of podcasts, but it was called Momgasm.
Oh, yeah, the Momgasm podcast. I love them.
There was an episode that I listened to that was talking about how her and her husband and how they actually were playing together. Like kids. Like they were trying to get to themselves to the point where they could literally just let go and imagine like a kid again.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what were we just talking about before this? About podcast. Oh, about how you were,
or how I'm 5 years old.
How you're 5 years old. It's not a bad thing. Basically, is what they were getting at. They're like, you know what? Too many people grow up too fast, and they forget about their childhood ways, and they just are too serious all the time, and they have a hard time being happy because they can't let go. And it's like, you know what? If you learn how to just kind of get back in touch with your kid's self and the way that you were when you were a kid, and let go a little bit.
Yeah.
And laugh at all the fart jokes.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and if someone says shardy, you laugh your ass off.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Point out when it sounds like somebody farts. It's
okay. Because our turd candle now just looks like a giant open butthole. So.
Oh, no, like a gaping butthole. Sorry. But,
it's art. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's art.
I think our podcast is kind of art.
Yeah, true. It's a creative outlet. So definitely.
It is. Hell yeah. We get to make stuff on social media.
And I was going to say photography. I did training for that for a while, which I miss the photography I used to do because I used to use 35 millimeter and go into the dark room and process it myself. And
it was a whole thing.
Yeah, but I don't have anywhere to do that. And the only place I ever did do that was at the college, like their dark room. And so I'm taking digital photography this semester, though, so we'll see how that goes.
That'd be awesome.
I would love
I'm
to do
so old. I don't know if I can learn new tricks at this point.
You can. I'm going to teach you TikTok.
I believe in you, and then you can teach them to me. No,
see, I can't even understand TikTok. I don't get it.
You will. You just need my awesome guidance. And frankly, I'm still learning more stuff about it. So,
so I just really fast before we I don't know if you guys are wanting to conclude really fast.
Soon, yeah.
Before we conclude, I just want to throw in a little. So dancing. I freaking love watching Dancing with the Stars.
That's a performance art, yeah.
That's a performance
I know,
art.
and I was just saying, it was just funny because I feel as though sometimes Dancing with the Stars obviously gets a little bit of a bad rap because it's like, you know, kind of...
It's famous people.
Yeah, but it's also like people that aren't necessarily in their prime anymore when it comes
Carol
to
Baskin.
So what? You can see what kind of progress they make.
Yeah,
I find myself freaking smiling, like cheesing when I'm watching that show. I don't know why, but I'll like catch myself. I will, like a smile, like
Dylan
a straight smile.
The Masked Singer. We haven't started The Masked Dancer yet, but he loves The Masked Singer, and like
I heard that was really good. I want to give it a shot.
It's okay.
I don't like watch it, but I'll watch like the clips online sometimes from it.
Right,
but I don't like watch usually.
But no, anyways, that was the last thing I was just going to bring up as another form of art
well,
that I really can enjoy. I actually enjoy doing it, too. Like, I remember when I was in dance and ballet, oh, man, that was like, shit, I loved it.
Yeah.
But, you know,
well, that's kind of like hula hooping and other types of flow art, like...
True.
And that's what it's called,
I think if we've learned anything from recording this episode, it is that we need to come back to this topic in more specific ways. Like performance art, where we can talk about hula hoops and, like... actual, like, literal people
fire dancing,
crocheting with their period blood, or fire dancing, or dancing, or theater, you know. And, like, another episode maybe where it's, like, more physical art, like my kinetic art, or statues, or paintings. And then, like, another one that's more like...
other things, tattoos. We could have a whole one on tattoos, I bet.
Well, that could be,
spoken word, or...
Yeah,
true.
Like, literary arts, like poetry.
And we should also ask our
witchy
listeners.
Art. We need to do, like, a witchy art something.
Yeah, or
we
domestic
arts,
like gardening and shit.
I feel like we should also ask, in the meantime, for people to submit other forms of art / favorites that maybe they like that we can relate to, too. And then we can also have a little bit more
maybe we can react to some of it. Send us art.
Yeah.
And we can talk
Send us
about
your
it.
art.
Yeah. We would love to
promote
see your
yourself.
Art. Tag us.
We're always looking for people to recommend at the end of our podcasts. And yeah.
Let's do some small-time
Shout
artists
outs.
in the future. Heck yeah. And, so yeah, I think I think we've come to a natural point where maybe we should move on to our predictions, ladies. We've been a little weird with predictions recently, but I think we're going to do one so we can do like a final quick at the end of, or at the top of our last.
Are we all going to go into one together?
We could do that.
I think we should go into all the same prediction.
I think that's a good idea.
It's a challenge. So
now, I had two that were rolling through my mind, but
okay. Let's see if we vibe with it, Sam. Let's see if we vibe with what Susie's thinking.
So, the first one I kind of don't want to do just because whatever, but I kind of was going to predict. I predict that this will be the last time we do predictions because I remember you kind of talked about that. But then the other one that I had,
I think
that
we would all be on board with that, maybe though, right?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, the other one you guys might like as well was I predict that we will hear back from Andrea Stein between seasons and try to set up something with her, some sort of a collaboration, whether it be just a couple questions she asks or answers for us, whether it be
no pressure, Andrea Stein.
No pressure. We don't want to do anything like that. But at the same time, I think that we
would like this prediction to come true.
We would love to hear your brain.
Is this like the prediction?
It's up to you guys. I mean, that was just what was rolling through my mind.
I mean, maybe we should just do different ones then, because that's not what I was thinking.
So what were you thinking?
I was thinking more that maybe by the next time we record, which might be a special episode, we'll have, how many TikTokers are we at now? I was going to say...
we have like over... Oh my gosh, we have over 1,000 TikTokers!
I was going to say by next time we record our next episode, maybe we'll have 2,000 TikToks.
2,000 TikTokers!
Follow us, share us.
At Midwest Coven Cast.
Maybe...
Okay, so I think
we're going to have different predictions then. Just make them quick. Mara, what's yours?
Okay, mine is going to be more personal. Next week starts classes, so I'm going to project that we're going to have a smooth first week.
Nice.
Probably pulling some predictions out of my butt here. I
start on the 9th? Well, the following Monday, because I think the 9th is actually when Saturdays start.
Okay.
But yeah.
So Susie, or which of your two are you going with?
That she will get back to us? Or
I'm going to go with...
Andrea Stein or predictions?
Oh, God. Which one do I think is more of a win here? But which one do I want to have happen more? I want the Andrea Stein one to happen, so I'm just going to see if possibly...
Of your two, that's the one that I would vibe with.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Hopefully Andrea Stein next season. We're not making any promises. We haven't really, chatted with her super formally or anything about this.
Informally, I reached out to her, though, so we have contact. We'll see.
We have made first contact.
I hope she listens. I don't know if she listens, so I don't know if I should be like, hey. But no, we will definitely reach out. I'm going to reach out to her personally. And
yes, I think it'd be awesome if we can get her. No pressure, Andrea Stein, if you're listening, but we would love to have you on the podcast.
Her so
we do. And then, so Sam, you said, just to recap, because my memory's terrible. She's like, I don't remember what I just predicted.
You're really coming back to me.
Oh, TikTokers.
Oh, 2,000 TikTokers.
Yes.
And then I said, good first week. Okay, so we have our predictions. We will see what happens. I will also ask everyone or remind them, visit MidwestCovenCast.com. We have a form up that you can fill out to submit questions for us. For our Q&A, which we are hoping to do for our next episode.
Yes.
So let us know what your questions are. Like I say, it can be about our witchy shit. It could be about our lives. You can ask us if we prefer hot dogs or pretzels. You could ask us if pineapple belongs on pizza. We don't care. Ask us questions, and we'll try and get to what we can. So, I think you are so wrong. Oh, it's a debate.
It's a debate already.
It's the wannabe vegetarian in me. That's my go-to pizza is mushroom and pineapple. Sorry.
No, you're totally welcome.
I need some flavor.
Or a stuffed, a deep dish pizza from Giordano's with pineapple, because that's amazing. Maybe I'll just order one on the way home.
I've never had pineapple on my pizza before, so
I just can't do it. I just can't.
Amazing.
But yeah, so ask us controversial questions. Maybe Sam and I will have a verbal brawl over pineapple on pizza. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We are all entitled to our opinions, of course. So go to our website, MidwestCovenCast.com, and you can find the form there to submit those questions. And until next time, Coven.
Blessed be. I have to pee.
I totally have to pee. I've been like shaking my leg over here.
You go ahead.
I have to pee.
I love it.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Midwest Coven Cast. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you love us, consider leaving us a review. You can join our coven by following us on social media at Midwest Coven on Twitter and at Midwest Coven Cast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also visit our website, MidwestCovenCast.com. Until next time, Coven, blessed be.